Hello and welcome to yet another edition of Frontline Conversations. I am Radhakrishnan. I'm in conversation with Mr. Balakrishnan. Thank you, sir, for this opportunity.
Thank you very much, Radhakrishnan.
Mr. Balakrishnan is an Indologist. He has studied the Indus Valley civilization extensively and its connections to the civilizations down south. In fact, his book, The Journey of the Civilization from Indus to Vagai River Valley, is a seminal work in this regard. And we will talk about that also. But then first, sir, the controversy now. It's like an archaeologist belonging to the Archaeological Survey of India submits an extensive report, nearly 1,000 pages, 982 pages. And 2 years after the report is submitted, he gets it back saying that you need to make corrections. Is this something that you've heard about in your career spanning so many years?
It's rather very surprising. At least I have never come across a kind of incident wherein an archaeologist who has got a sufficient training and a professional who has done a lot of archaeological excavation, and he does an excavation after 10 years. Then it took a lot of efforts, even judicial intervention and all, to get the report produced. And then after submission, after 2 years, so the report is being, I heard that is vetted by two other outsiders or whosoever it is, and then he is being asked to make some corrections to increase the authenticity, to make it more authentic. That's what I read it in paper, and then asked to resubmit it. So it's something I have never heard. It's a rather surprise. It came as a very surprise, rather very disappointing also.
We are referring to the ASI's report written by Amarnath on Keezhadi, and it has been sent to him by saying that there were several artifacts were discovered during that period, around about 20,000. But then the Archaeological Survey of India, the Director General, is not convinced about the authenticity of this particular the reports that Amarnath had submitted, and it's asked him to relook. And the DG's letter apparently seems to say that it is from a later period. How does the DG or the others in a letter, how do they say that it can be from a later period?
Sir, to be honest with you, I would not basically, rather I will consider I am very stick to my focused area. Technical questions regarding archaeology, because though I am quite aware of it, so the question remains that whether I am a professional archaeologist, which I am not. So I would not rather take the question on the technical, what exactly they wanted, how he would like to defend his report. But my take on this would be basically Archaeological Survey of India. It's not a new organization. It's a very eminent, and a lot of things have come out. And then even Indus Valley civilization, way back in 1924, came to the world's knowledge directly by the Director General of ASI announcing it. So such an organization is almost asking him to we are not having faith in it, you have a more authenticity and all. It's like passing a no confidence on its own professional archaeologist. That's what I'm feeling little surprised and disappointed, for the simple reason, because a person like me, I feel that I have to be evidence based. That means history, the reconstruction of history has to be absolutely evidence based. But we have to be aware of the fact that the making of history itself, history is very important. It's very essential, and you cannot escape from history. It's inescapable. And so that means you are very much tied to the history. But the fact remains that the history is a narrative. There has to be some element of, can you say that history is a rocket science, which is not a fact? So you know that history is made, something is handed down to you as an history. At least we are now equipped with the modern methods of doing a carbon dating, so many methods of seeing the veracity. We are living in an age of the genomic studies and genetic studies and all. So it's like now aided by the evidence-based research. So in this context, even a scientific finding or a discovery can be questioned after some time. So my take is that, suppose that Amarnath Ramakrishna has prepared a report. It's a long report, I understand. And then it's a 10-year back, and then he has submitted it 2 years after that. So then if spelling mistakes and all, I am told that it normally gets corrected, not in the substantive content of that. Suppose that if it's put to the public scrutiny, if there is some mistake or something methodology, and people will not leave it. Like it's for the scientific community, archaeological community to question it. That is how the science and the history has progressed. So that way, I have a feeling it's rather sounds unusual. That means that unusualness only it's bothering. Why I am calling it unusual. Actually, unusual in the sense that for an outsider it will sound unusual, but I am not basically surprised actually. I am not, because probably this report must have shocked or surprised somebody. This delay and this kind of response, I am not surprised, because I am guided by the previous history or previous happenings. Asking for the correction is unprecedented, but the delay is not unprecedented. I would take the example of Adicharallur. Adicharallur was excavated in recent times in 2004. Right now there is some excavation taking place, but the major excavation 2004 and 5 by eminent archaeologist T. Satyamurthy. It's very personally known to me.
The urns from Adicharallur.
He was working in Orissa before coming here. I had worked with him. So that means he did the excavation. Before him, who did it was that Alexander Ray. The year was 1904. That means after 1904, after 100 years, so somebody is coming to dig again. That is T. Satyamurthy. Okay, that report should have come to the limelight immediately, or it should have been published. So it was not published. He retired, and then somebody has to go to the court. It took more than about 15 years, around 2018-19. Somebody went to the court and obtained order. So he is a long retired. And he said, then ultimately there some report was made. It was not even given thing, and ultimately a report was made after 15 years. So that means an archaeological finding will take 15 years for the come to the public scrutiny. I am not surprised by that. But even that one, as we seen in the context, I will rather again go back. Somebody like Dixit, K.N. Dixit. K.N. Dixit was a Director General of Archaeology from 1937. So he came to Chennai, at that time Madras Presidency, Madras University. He comes and delivers a lecture in the history department. He makes a statement. By the time after Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, a lot of new evidence started emerging in Kutch in Gujarat. So having been equipped with that kind of information, he tells that using that conch shell bangles as an evidence. So in Gujarat, Rajasthan area, people are wearing, women are wearing, and Indus Valley civilization, there is archaeological evidence for wearing bangles of things. So he analyzed that particular art of making, the technology of making conch shell bangle is very much found in South India. So he makes a guess that whether it's a trade-related connectivity or cultural relationship or a continuing legacy, he makes his mind is worked with an intuitive way. He tells that if somebody takes their job seriously and do the serious digging, and he tells Tirunelveli and he tells Korkai, in that area, if you do the digging, you will come out with an evidence, most likely, which will connect in the periodically equivalent to the single Indus Valley civilization, contemporary to Indus Valley civilization, or sometime later. Look at it, it's 1935. After 1935, this statement, the first man who made such an attempt towards that edge was the Amarnath Ramakrishna.
2004.
2014. 2014. That means you can say 8 years or 90 years. 1935 to 80 years, after 8 years. So Amarnath also, I had been there. I visited Kiladi in the first week of June in 2016. Because my book, actually Tamil book, based on my English article, High West, Low East, Dichotomy of Indus Town Planning, a Dravidian Paradigm. I had published in an article in 2012. And then based on that, I had written a Tamil book, Sindhuveli Panbat in Dravida Adithalam, which is basically talking about the Dravidian foundations of the Indus township and the architecture and the kind of concept. So that book had been released just about within 45 days. I read a news item in Madurai-based Madurai Deadline, and 2 contiguous days, which is telling that Harappan-like evidence are found near Madurai. I was surprised. I was in Orissa. I took a flight and straight came there. In June, I met him. I went and saw that, because I'm also familiar with this kind of thing. Black and red were the graffiti markers, and then the kind of dyes and other thing. Phenomenal evidence. I was so surprised. So then normal course we would have expected that 2014-15 and the report will come within a year or two. But then you have to see this context. He does the first and second. Then comes the third phase of excavation, third series. And that is also done by ASI, but not by Amarnath. By the time he had been transferred. Okay. Somebody else comes and does
2017.
that. 2017. So then the digging was done and people are doing an interview. I've seen a YouTube video where that archaeologist says that, okay, this is almost over, it's coming to a close. But then not much of evidence found to say that urban nature or the township nature of this or the evidence for it. In a way, if you put it, the enthusiasm or the kind of awe or the kind of inspiration Amarnath was forthcoming with this one, it's just opposite to that. So then people like us, we saw that, oh, there's nothing more is found and all. So then comes the Tamil Nadu government. We must know that Tamil Nadu archaeology, if there is a state government which started its own archaeology department, the directorate, it was Tamil Nadu. It was started way back. So then Tamil Nadu archaeology steps in and ask for the permission from the ASI. Taking permission from them, they started digging. That means 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Now the 10th session is over. That means after that, thousands of evidence. That means corroborating what Amarnath Ramakrishnan told or indicated in the first and second excavation, being corroborated by the 4th to 10th. But the 4th and 10th is not endorsing what was told by ASI after the 3rd in 2017. So who is correct?
Obviously, the overwhelming evidence. We need to speak about both Korkai and Pornai. But before that, I have a layman's question. We can understand after the 1962 war, the Henderson-Brooks report, for instance, was completely off bounds. It was never published. It was never kept in Parliament for the longest time. But what is it that the nature of an archaeological report? Somebody is digging up something from the past. Why is that report being held back for 15 years or 5 years, and then why is corrections being sought from that?
This is what, as I told at the beginning itself, is all normally history is a narrative. You build a narrative and you market it, you put it into the collective consciousness or what you call the people's brain. So it gets into it. So then you are taught to believe that means Panjabandava walked all the places and every rocks. I have traveled all over India, except maybe up to 15, 16 districts. All districts I have put my foot because I have been election commission, done 30 state election, 2 Lok Sabha elections. I have traveled all over. I have met all the tribals of India. So wherever I saw that, I have been told that this is a place Pandava was sleeping, and this is a place like that. They will, wherever there is a rock, then there is a Panjabandava slept there. So then you cannot take that as an history, like how many places 5 people must have slept. So you have to take that as a kind of a peak or a Idihasam or something like that. So then if that is marketed as history, and the very serious archaeologist who talked about the C14, this test, that what, and chemical analysis, suddenly comes and talks about Mahabharata age based on certain names, like what is there, Astinapuram, Indraprastha, there is a place near called Indraprastha in Delhi itself. Then based on the name, and somebody can go and dig and even make an assumption that it belongs to Mahabharata age, as if Mahabharata age is something like a stone age, or the metal age, like a bronze age or iron age, or the prehistory, proto-history, or the historical time. How can you say that this belongs to Mahabharata age? Are we talking about when it was written or when it happened? So if it happened, what is the archaeological proof you have? And how can you peddle that as a history? So it's a question is that when a popular narrative is made, any evidence which is contrary to that, people feel threatened. I look at that way. It is threatening somebody. It is basically unsettling a narrative which has been deposited in the minds of the people over a millennium. So then what was the greatest unsettling event in my view? I don't think that in Indian historical narrative, a more earth-shaking event, what was announcement by John Marshall in 1924, that was one announcement. It changed the course of the understanding of the Indian history. Till he announced it, I very much doubt in his place. He came to India at the age of 26. 26 he came here, and he had no stake, he had no bias, and fortunately he was not knowing any Indian language. And before that, if you handed over this responsibility to anybody who is well versed with epics and all kind of languages, he must have been totally biased. He is with an open mind. He looks at things, he says that it's not a local culture, it's a civilization. He tells that something looks totally different. So he says it's a pre-Vedic, it's a non-Vedic and Dravidic. And then immediately after his report, within about 2 months, Sunil Kumar Chatterjee, see, you would understand that John Marshall is not an Indian or a Tamilian. Sunil Kumar Chatterjee in 1924 December in Modern Review, he writes an article where he talks about the Dravidian origins. He talks about the Indus Valley evidence. He talks about the Adichanallur. Imagine, he talks about Adichanallur. He talks about the early Tamil texts and all. He mentions about it. He wrote a phenomenal article. There starts what is called the Dravidian hypothesis. Probably that people felt threatened that the new finding, which is changing the course of the Indian narrative. So the narrative gets changed. So recently Tamil Nadu celebrated the 100th centenary of the announcement of the Indus Valley civilization. Let me be very clearly underline what I am saying. If any place where the Indus Valley civilization is being talked with an emotional involvement, in the only one place is in Tamil Nadu.
Oh, okay.
There is one place where a statue has been erected because he announced the Bronze Age civilization. It's a bronze statue, 7.5 feet, and with a 7.5 feet total 15 feet height. That too in front of the museum conference hall. It has been erected. If it is at Tamil Nadu in Chennai, nowhere else. I think that it's something remarkable. And imagine an announcement has been made by the Tamil Nadu Chief Minister. Anybody reads it. People misunderstand it. It's not necessarily somebody has to read it and say that Tamil is written, or it is he need not confirm. He has to only to prove to all the informed, scientifically inclined and evidence based. Whosoever reads it, the announcement has been made. If you are able to decipher the Indus script, $1 million. $1 million. And then a book has been released where the graffiti in the potteries of Tamil Nadu has been compared with the Indus signs. A book has been produced. That means it's a concrete evidence. Let us discuss on it. Another book has come out with the antiquity of use of iron in Tamil Nadu. So all these things are happening in 1 year. An international conference, a statue, and a $1 million announcement, a book on graffiti and Indus sign, and a book on the antiquity of iron. Probably. It's not being liked by somebody, probably unsettling. I consider actually, I never feel unsettled. See, I'm born here. I studied BA Tamil literature and MA Tamil. I'm a student of Tamil literature. I studied nothing else, even today. I spent 40 years, full 40 years in the civil service. I worked in the different parts of the country, and I learnt another language. I had a huge respect for every mother tongue in this country. And the last assignment I had proudly held before coming back to Tamil Nadu was holding the first World Classical Odia Conference.
Oh, wow.
It's like a World Odia Classical Conference was organized. I was in full charge. And so many, the same way I have written papers on the antiquity of Tamil, I have written so many research papers about the Orissa. So then it's been published, it's been translated. There is no, I always consider that there should not be a hatred. India is an inclusive nation. I use my entire research and my book revolves around a narrative. I consider India to be a rainforest. I consider India's pluralism as a rainforest pluralism. I negate the idea of the melting pot. People normally say that India is a melting pot, and then unity in diversity, all kind of cliches they use it. So it's not a melting pot. See, melting pot is a little alloy making process. Many metals are put together.
Everybody's identity goes
everybody's identity lost, and somebody is going to stand out and tell it is me. There's going to be a dominant metal. So that is the reason you end up giving some kind of name to that. So many identities are lost. India is not like that. It's having hundreds and hundreds of tribals, hundreds and hundreds of indigenous languages. So this is not melting pot. And then normally in America and a place like that, they stylistically use a new metaphor of the salad bowl. They say that no, we are not a melting pot. Who is there to melt us?
True.
So we are a salad bowl. We are equally, we are placed in the salad bowl, different color, white, black, red, and all kind of thing. We are a salad bowl pluralism. I am not agreeing with that also, because salad bowl is a basically inorganic post-harvest process. There is some kind of selection method involved in it. All the vegetables are not making to the salad bowl grade. I have never seen a bitter cucumber. I have not seen the brinjal there. I am only finding carrot and radish and the onion. So there is a type of neat examination involved in it, an entrance examination to make it to the salad bowl. So I am not agreeing with that. So I consider India to be a rainforest. So rainforest is the only place, an ecosystem, interdependence and co-living or living together is in essence and the very existence. You will find the fungi and then forest floor and then kind of different butterfly, monkeys and then tigers and deers, and then the ecosystem, there is a canopy, there is an overshoot. So India is a rainforest. I consider the India's pluralism as a rainforest pluralism. Anybody who believes in rainforest nature of Indian culture will not try to attempt any exclusive narrative. This I learned from the ancient Tamil text only. Yadu Mure Yavarum Kelil. A statement is in Sangam literature which talks about every place is my village, every place is my place, everybody is my kith and kin. Can you, this what I call is a civilizational maturity.
True.
That is coming about 2000 years back. A cosmopolitanism being spoken, a town, a port town, where the people speak a different language and then they all live together and they are happily living together. It's a Sangam text says. I call it a cosmopolitanism. I have not come across any other literature talks about that kind of diversity, inclusiveness. That is the reason we bet for it.
Okay. Sir, last two questions. One is obviously the question is that, this has been sent back, it's unprecedented. So what happens to this report? Does Amarnath go back to the drawing board and say, no, all that I said was wrong, and sit and write a new report and whatever they want? How does it actually work? I mean, has it happened before? How is it going to happen now?
I don't know. In an unprecedented situation, he would ultimately take a call. I am rather perplexed. It's basically, I would consider as a kind of a professionalism or a institutional credibility. I would rather say individuals come and go. I'm telling you, I often make a statement that even the death of the individuals, you can easily overcome. We will always feel that if X goes, that everything will come to a standstill, the whole world, nothing of that sort. People come and go. History has seen any kind of many type of emperors. You don't even know that where they were there. But the institutions are very important. So I more worried about while feeling concern about an important evidence which talks about the Tamil antiquity, which is talking about a kind of an evidence for workplace where there is a different industry, where conch shell making, or the evidence for the textile industry, dyeing industry, and then kind of a little bit of pipeline or the drainage, household, brick structures. All these things basically, because look at it's important, it's not found in somewhere in the interiors. It is found near Madurai. And Madurai is a city which is a continuously a living city for more than 2000 years. So just outside Madurai, you find this kind of evidence. It is very important. You cannot ignore it. He is also coming to this conclusion after studying 292 sites in both the banks of the river Vagai. After that, he is zeroing on. The reason why he decided to dig Kiladi, normally everybody was finding that's a megalithic and burial grounds kind of not habitat site. So the habitat site was something they were searching for. So he guessed it rightly. When I went there also I found there is another western mound also is there. I was asking him whether this is the eastern side, is there anything west to that is there? Because I have been talking about the high west, low east dichotomy. I am also fascinated by the name Kiladi. In the Dravidian languages, but in Tamil, Kil mean low. Kil mean also east.
Oh, okay.
Kilakku, Kil Tisai. And then in the male is a high, the high altitude male, high. And then also male mean west also. That means in the entire Dravidian paradigm, the linguistic paradigm, the terminology used for the high and west are the exactly same, and low and east are the same. That is how we guessed on the topocentric approach of Dravidian languages, which is different from the anthropocentric approach of the Indo-Aryan languages. That's what I wrote in 2012.
Yeah.
So I was fascinated. Why Rastu Kiladi was that? Because the very name. I was immediately Kiladi. Kiladi means low and then east. Then I landing there, I asked him, is there anything west to this? There is a mound. There is a mound. I saw that there is a mound. What has been dig is only one part. What was surprising me, even I met the people, the headmaster, I think if I rightly remember, I'm sorry, Balasubramaniam or somebody, who I met him, fortunate to meet him. He who brought to the notice of the people, there is some kind of ancient antiquity is found. So there is a teacher, I met him. And then I met the people who gave their land for the study. Normally people will be afraid of giving land for the study. So I used to visit the Kiladi and people used to meet me on to request, sir, please sir, it seems that my land also likely to have the continuity of this, and my land also may be dug.
Yeah, there's a coconut farm there.
Coconut farm. I met that guy. He was telling me, he is telling us that this drainage is likely to come to my area. That is the reason this time I don't want to disturb. I am not actually doing cultivation this session. Probably if they want to dig, let them dig. That means I was surprised. If somebody is not worried about his economic loss, he is owning up the history. I consider to be that's a stakeholding. What I find in Tamil people, the stakeholding, the sense of ownership in history is amazing. I see that you must have seen that Kiladi Museum.
Yeah.
Thousands of people are going. People coming from abroad, if they come to Tamil Nadu, make a visit to Kiladi. Other parts of the state, they go to the Kiladi. College students are going, school students are going, everybody is going there. This stakeholding, I have never ever seen anywhere else.
Fabulous.
Probably people are worried about that.
Sir, when I was in Sri Lanka, I realized that the archaeological survey there is being used to plant evidence to prove that, in Hindu sites there are Buddhist, the statue of Buddha is being taken. Even now, there are problems in North Sri Lanka and East Sri Lanka. Basically, archaeological survey has become a tool in the hands of the Sinhala majoritarian government to recreate history. The other part of that is that the government itself claims that there is a Ravana cave and Sita was abducted. This is where Sita was and all of that. That becomes part of they again roped in archaeological survey into that. Do you fear something of the similar nature happening in India?
No. Rather I would say it's a universal. This can be in many countries. This kind of narratives or artificial narratives are planned or planted or basically worked on it. The narrative actually people make and then create a kind of national thing around it. But I tell you, having worked in all over India, I done UP election, Madhya Pradesh election, Bihar election, Kashmir election, all these places. I came even near Delhi, near Noida area itself. There is a temple where there is a Ravana statue is there and thing and all. Then there is a place in Mandasar. Then there is they will tell that it's a Mandodari's birthplace. And then that area in the Kanauj and in Uttar Pradesh and Madhya Pradesh, I come across places where the Ravana statue, huge Ravana statue with the 10 heads. And to my knowledge, I worked in Dandakaranya region also, the tri-junction of the Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, and then Chhattisgarh, Orissa, and that border area I have worked there. I have seen all these places, story take place. I have come across Ravana being worshipped, or Ravana is being revered, or even people mourning when the Ramlila is being celebrated, Ravana effigy is being burnt, and people mourning. There is a Brahmin group in Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, Maudgil Brahmins. They say that we are the relatives of Ravan, and we belong to the same kind of origin. And then they mourn, they don't participate in the Ramlila. And then in Maharashtra, people, the tribals, they take procession and go to the collector and give a petition that Ravana effigy should not be burned. See, and there is a hills in Amravati district in Maharashtra. There is a Melkot area. There is a tribe called Kurku tribe lives there. They speak in Austro-Asiatic group of language, Kurku language. They call themselves as a Ravana Vamsi. And I have come across people, Ravana, who is a son of Ravana, who is son of Ravana. I have never come across such a kind of worshipping. People, without even knowing, people can't even make out the difference between what is Chennai and then there is many people don't even know that there is a language Malayalam being spoken. Everybody they say you are Madrasi and all.
Correct.
So anybody in South Madrasi is a very vague kind of understanding of South. So then people have asked me, my own friends have asked me, do you guys worship Ravana? Because in recent times, in a political narrative, like a Ravana Kavyam has been written. In West Bengal, there is a Meghanatha Vata Kavyam has been written. So like that kind of narrative will take place. Some people will take their name of Ravana, but I never come across Ravana is being worshipped. But I have come across many places where Ravana is having a temple. The southernmost temple I have come across in the Kakinada, that area. Beyond that, I have never seen any temple for Ravana, but people still talk about associating Ravana with this Sri Lanka. But I have come across many Sri Lankas in the Narmada, Dapti and Godavari region, and I created a map on it. I have visited those villages, and these particular villages and the land mass inside the Godavari, it's called Lanka Jami. And Lanka Jami. And then because it's like an island-like thing. So the whole, if you want to locate the Lanka, then you have to go to the Godavari and Narmada Dapti, and where people identify themselves with the Ravana, Lanka, all kind of thing. So it says, as we move, the story travels.
Okay.
Then if you misunderstand story to history, then that's pathetic.
Thank you so much for your time, sir. It's always a pleasure to talk to Mr. Balakrishnan, who is a repository of knowledge from the ancient times. This controversy that we talk about today is because a superintending archaeologist here, Amarnath Ramakrishnan, wrote a report, 982-page report on the Kiladi excavations, and specified the period of the Kiladi civilization, the civilization that existed at Kiladi, which has not been accepted by the Archaeological Survey of India. After much delay, they've sent it back to him, asking him to have a relook, because they say that it is from a much later period and not from the period that Amarnath Ramakrishnan claims, and the subsequent excavations. Amarnath Ramakrishnan based it on the first 3 sites. Of course, he has visited 200 plus sites, but then Tamil Nadu government independently did a huge survey, did excavations, and then concretely established where Keezhadi should be placed in the pantheon of where the civilizations. Thank you for watching another episode of Frontline Conversations. Thank you.